this is a warning.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue into this Kirana Hills
Oh,
situation.
sure.
See two idiot NRIs from Canada.
I think that's a good segue into this Kirana Hills
Oh,
situation.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
we don't, like, right now, India's saying we didn't hit it, but there is lots of on-the-ground video of, like, Kirana Hills being hit.
किराना पारी दे सुबह अटैक हो गया मजार अटैक होया और दूजा एक और अटैक हो गया मुसलसल अटैक हो रहे किराना पारी तुम किराना पारी के सामने एक चौकी से आदमी छोटी उसे अटैक होया मजार अटैक सामने आने देख रहे हो मजार दी है या अल्लाह खैर दो अटैक हो गए दो मिसाइल फायर हुए अभी
And then after it was hit, a U.S. nuclear sniffing plane that goes around, like, for radiation spills to sniff around that was sent there. And then a plane with a shipment of boron was sent from Egypt, which is rich in boron, and like the U.S. I think got them to send it on short order and something like that. So there seems to be smoke there, and like the thing is, Kirana Hills is a nuclear storage site, and India appears to have hit it. So like again, like one or two missiles, whereas this is like knocking on the door and saying like, I know what's in here. I can strike this, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Because all of your attacks were ineffective, and all of our attacks were effective.
Yeah. Because there's videos of like people like and saying, "Oh, there's one strike. Oh, there's another." So it seems to be like two, and apparently it's at like the entrance and exit. So like you can't
just
you can't access it. Yeah, you can't access it. So, you know, like...
and then that's like one of my favorite memes of like when the air marshal was saying like, we don't know about Kirana Hills, but thank you for telling us there's nukes there.
Is there a confirmation that we actually hit Kirana Hills, or we were careful of not to do any such thing? Thank you.
Thank you for telling us that Kirana Hill houses some nuclear installation. We did not know about it. Okay.
And like the whole tri-service was smirking at that. So I personally, like my theory here, and this part is like unverified, but like I think India is just saying like, hey, you always rattle your nukes to protect your terrorists. Guess what? We can take those out and you still can't do anything.
Right.
So rethink your life. Right? Like, do better, make better decisions.
And you know, PM Modi after also said, like, we're not going to take your nuclear blackmail anymore. Like, sorry, you can't just do terrorist attacks and then say, oh, you can't like retaliate because we're nuclear, like
that's kind of,
we have nuclear weapons. That's what they do to the
more
West.
Evidence that it happened, right?
I think so. Otherwise he wouldn't have like mentioned it like that. But,
like there's like multiple people.
layers.
There were like so many people around these hills, and like video from multiple people. The two strikes, and like I think something happened. And I think it was just India saying like, knock knock. Guess what? We know where your nukes are, and we can't take them out.
Yeah, they did strike the Sargodha air base, which was close to Kirana Hills as well. So
so like Pakistan's worst nightmare as a country is like their nuclear command and control being taken out, because that's all they have.
That's all
like they lose every single war with India conventionally. But they just like shake their nukes around and say like, we will use these. We're crazy, right? Like, so like that's literally their entire defense and how they protect like half the terrorist groups in the world within their borders, right? So if you can take those out, and if they still can't reach you effectively, like game over, right? We can take out those terrorist camps.
I think
Right.
India was like very, very smart this time. And the 2 DGMO tri-service briefings that happened, those were brilliant. I mean, that like from Game of Thrones, when Cersei says power is power, power is power. Like
Seize him. Cut his throat. Stop. Oh, wait. I've changed my mind. Let him go. Step back 3 paces. Turn around. Close your eyes. Power is power.
that was power. And they were phenomenal. Like you can just tell like they're like professionals. They understand everything that they should know, like within their field, compared to like Pakistan not knowing what air to surface and surface to surface missiles are.
It's in the name.
Yeah, and that
you're in the air, it goes to the surface. You're on the surface, it goes to the air.
It's not that hard. And that like an S-400 has a center of gravity. You know, like so. That's the Pakistani side, and then the Indian side. I mean, they were just so professional, and I also really liked the Navy chief. He didn't say very much.
Some people were saying like he was pissed off that he, or like or not pissed off, but like he was a little like I wanted to participate. But I think like if Pakistan kept escalating and there wasn't a ceasefire, the Navy was like. For some reason, I thought that was a map, but like it was like really close to them, right? And if it sailed a little closer, it would be the same thing as 1971.
Right. Yeah. I've heard that like our Navy, like of our 3 services, the Navy is the one that like outpaces Pakistan by like orders of magnitude. Like we're just far superior in terms of Navy. So like they are on like all of this. You know, the Indian side planned all of this out, and they have like SOPs and stuff like that. They know what the escalation ladder is. So like the Navy won't get involved like until like you hit a certain level.
The Navy's really involved in like the second strike and third strike of like the nuclear triad. So India has SSBNs, so like nuclear-powered submarines that can stay at sea for like a really long time if needed, and they can hide really deep and they don't make noise. They're very stealthy. Pakistan doesn't have these, so they don't have a nuclear triad actually. So they just have like gravity bombs and conventional bombs, whereas India can deliver them any which way, and it's almost impossible to find one of these SSBNs. So you always have that backup. So that's why the Navy was kind of there as like, we're going to be backup in case anything goes down. I think if Pakistan like kept trying, then like the aircraft carriers were there. They could have like BrahMos'd like all their air bases, military bases, everything.
Everything. The port, like you said, the last time they were close to Karachi. Like another country was born, and like didn't the Karachi port like burn for like a week or something like that. But it was really funny in the like tri-service briefing in India because like the Navy chief he didn't say a lot, but it was like, oh man, like anyone listening to him would be scared because he was like, basically if Pakistan tries anything, we're coming for you.
So this is like a kind of funny headline from India. Well, it's not funny, it's just what happened, but like again, it's like an Indian flex. It's like how India won 1970 war on water, sank Pakistan's Ghazi, which was hunting for the INS Vikram. So India's army or Navy came out of this pretty unscathed. Whereas the Pakistan's Ghazi, which was hunting for the Vikram, is still like in Indian waters. I think it's just like sunk there.
So I thought like the briefings were good, and then when PM Modi came out and like spoke. Oh, first though, so we were talking about the Kirana Hills, right? People also think something happened there because of the United States' position, like. When India struck the 9 terror camps and then the 11 air bases, like initially the States was like, like JD Vance was like, that's not our problem, which it isn't.
He
However,
was in India, by the way, when
when
the
the
terrorist attack happened, and he was like, India's like such a beautiful country and everything. Like, it's heartbreaking that this happened and things like that.
Yeah, and then the United States' position changed like that. So the thinking is that, what if India struck like the Kirana Hills, where they keep some like the nuclear like storage or whatever, then like, of course, America would have known, because all countries watch other countries.
America knows everything.
Yeah, America knows everything. So like, they would have known, but Pakistan would have ran to America and be like, "Help us, please."
Yeah. Meanwhile, Shehbaz Sharif is still like making up this phone call in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I was swimming, and then this morning I woke up at night, and India called and said, "Please give us a ceasefire."
Yeah.
Like,
no, that's not how it happened. It was actually throughout the whole operation, of course, like lines of communication between countries are open, including the countries that are like at war, right? Like there is always like communication between like the two like DGMOs or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, and so, but what India said to the United States is, if Pakistan wants like something or to talk to us, they have to talk to us directly. Like, no third party is mediating this situation, right?
Your sugar daddy is not part of this conversation.
No, like this is a bilateral situation. And so the DGMO of Pakistan called the DGMO of India. That's what happened. And after India had accomplished what they set out to do, Pakistan called India to say like ceasefire, and India did not agree to a ceasefire. India said that this is a temporary halting of military action. It's not a ceasefire.
India calls it an understanding. Trump is like, I brokered a ceasefire.
A permanent ceasefire.
The most big, beautiful ceasefire. In all of India's terminology, it's just been an understanding. And they still say Operation
Sindoor is in effect. And they, a few other things that PM Modi said, which was very powerful, and I think it changes the whole dynamic for the first time. Like, like what PM Modi, his government, and the armed forces did this time during Operation Sindoor is unprecedented, and I think it changes like the whole game. So like they said, calling Pakistan's nuclear bluff and blackmail. So no, you can't just commit terrorist attacks and then like go run to the rest of the world and say, we're a nuclear power, like tell India not to attack. We are going to attack. Apparently this is the first time in the world where there's two nuclear countries, and one goes deep into the other.
Take out their air bases. It is the first time.
It's never happened in the world. So, that. Two, the diplomatic things that India had done. So even before the Operation Sindoor, like that first night where India struck the 9 terror bases, there were a whole bunch of diplomatic things that India had done. The abeyance of the Indus Water Treaty was I think, like at the same level as the military operation, if not more, because it's much more long-term impact. Like, this is the first time that India has held the Indus Water Treaty, which I don't know why, it favored Pakistan much more than India. Not sure why Nehru, another blunder of Nehru, gave so much to Pakistan.
And it's who's the established power now, and who's begging the IMF for bailouts? Why should it even be equal?
Exactly. And India is a much more populous country. It's much bigger, so it needs the water. Anyways, and so the Indus Water Treaty is held in abeyance, and it will take a long time to develop the infrastructure to divert, the majority of the water. But, India doesn't have to do that. Even a 10% drop in water to Pakistan would it's like a blowing crush to their agriculture, it's a huge impact. And so I'm so glad that they actually did this. PM Modi had the guts to say, I don't care what the world says. I don't care what anyone says. We are holding the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance until Pakistan hands us, there's a list of terrorists, that wanted terrorists.
Yeah.
They need to hand them to us, plus they need to dismantle their terror infrastructure.
Yeah. So it's like a massive chess piece for negotiating,
Huge.
right?
Yeah.
So
they can basically turn on and off the tap at will.
And it'll take years, like you said, to actually dam all the water. So like Pakistanis aren't dying of thirst, but like it's like this is the huge negotiating chip that we had all along.
Yeah.
And we never used before.
We never used it.
So like we have a country like funding and aiding terrorists to come and kill tens of thousands of Indians over decades.
Yeah.
And like we're still giving them all their water.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And like
water that like starts in India, and
it's Indian water.
Yeah, it's Indian water, and like the thing is that of course we're like India is going to invest in like the infrastructure to divert, like to dam the rivers and stuff, but like I said, I've seen a lot of analysis that was like, even if like the water like level drops like 10% or 20%, you know, it's a huge impact to like an agricultural sort of like environment. Plus, India's not sharing data with them. So, you know, they can like dam the waters
and flood it.
And like that's a big like blow, you know, when you're like, you rely on agriculture, right?
And I would think like the small changes are like, they really matter for agriculture, because if you think about a river, you're using like what's on the sides for agriculture.
Right. And like if you open the dam and it like floods, then you're taking topsoil and exactly, and saplings and stuff like that. And like the unpredictability is what like ruins agriculture. So.
And like some people were saying like, oh, well, now that we did this, what if China does the same thing to us? First of all, India is like a status quo power in Asia, as this operation proved. So like, I don't think China would do the same thing. But also I read that 70% of the water from those rivers comes in post-China. So like it's flowing in other streams in India and other countries.
Oh, okay. So a lot of that water goes to Bangladesh, is what I heard. So it would screw Bangladesh first. But like, so that was a big thing. And so India basically said, and PM Modi very strongly said, that trade and war, or like trade and terror, water and terror, cannot go hand in hand, and like dialogue and terror will not go hand in hand.
साथियों, पाकिस्तानी फौज, पाकिस्तान की सरकार जिस तरह आतंकवाद को खाद पानी दे रहे हैं, वो एक दिन पाकिस्तान को ही समाप्त कर देगा। पाकिस्तान को अगर बचना है तो उसे अपने टेरर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का सफाया करना ही होगा। टेरर और टॉक एक साथ नहीं हो सकते। टेरर और ट्रेड एक साथ नहीं चल सकते, और पानी और खून भी एक साथ नहीं बह सकता।
And I think this was like a good rebuff to like Bhutto saying that like either the water will flow or your blood will flow. Well, first, like you made Indian blood flow.
Exactly. You already did.
So Modi's saying no, blood and water won't flow at the same time.
Exactly. And the other thing that they said very strongly is that like the India-Pakistan issue is a bilateral issue. So this was like, you know, like Modi ji, I found never does anything in the heat of the moment. Like, and he says things indirectly too, but like they're very like powerful the way he says it. Like, so, you know, Donald Trump tried to take credit for like negotiating this 1,000-year issue. I don't know, like between Pakistan and India, even though Pakistan and India gained independence in like 1947, and Pakistan was born, in 1947. So I think this was a rebuff to Donald Trump to say that India will not tolerate like a third party, you know, getting involved in like the India-Pakistan issue. Like this will be a bilateral issue. And the only thing we're going to talk to Pakistan about is when are you going to vacate Pakistan occupied Kashmir and terrorism. That is it. And India and the Indus Water Treaty will stay in abeyance. Even though we're halting like the military action right now, depending on how Pakistan behaves, right? Like Operation Sindoor is still in effect, you know, and we're still ready. But the Indus Water Treaty is going to be in abeyance. Yeah.
And I saw like after the ceasefire or understanding, as we call it, the unknown gunmen are back at it. So like I love that meme. It's like the knight in armor, and it's like post ceasefire, and then there's an arrow in his eye. It's like unknown gunmen.
Yeah. Oh
like,
yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. It was another big like terrorist who was involved in what? I forget which one.
Yeah,
So many terrorist attacks. But one of them.
And like all of them are living in Pakistan
Yeah,
and
all of
funded by
them.
Pakistan.
Yeah.
Like let's pay them $500,000, right?
Right. Yeah. So yeah. What else? Did you have anything else to?
Yeah, I think Shahbaz Sharif also acknowledged damage on some of the air bases, but like it's this weird thing with Pakistan where like they slip up and like sometimes they acknowledge damage and like embarrass themselves on international media, but also like their media, social media is in overdrive, kind of like denying it.
Right.
So it's this weird like holding like a truth and a fiction in your head,
right?
In this at the same time with Pakistan, like who knows with them? But
well, the thing is, when you're hiding the truth and you're lying, it's a harder thing to do because you have to like remember all the lies and stuff.
When you're telling for it anymore, like
when you're telling the truth, it's much easier. So, which is why they probably catch themselves in lies and like the right hand is not talking to the left hand. Your defense minister is
dirty business.
Yeah, is admitting that you've committed terrorism while other people are denying it.
Yeah.
So
was this guy the same one as last time? He also had like a number of other gaffes.
While you pull that up, I also wanted to mention that you know, at a time when India, like the Operation Sindoor is not like halted. You know, it's still in effect. And like throughout the operation, like initially, like the opposition parties in India were like, yes, we are behind our government, but like very like that they like sort of showed their true colors. Like, first of all, when the terrorist attack happened, they're like, oh no, like nothing happened. Oh no, they like the victims weren't segregated based on religion. Don't blame Pakistan. We should believe Pakistan that they didn't do it. Like these are the actual like comments that came from opposition party leaders, you know, and like their spokespeople. And then like as India was planning the attack, like it took some time, right, to plan. You don't just like randomly like.
And also you attack at a time you choose, not when they choose.
Yeah.
So if they did it right away, Pakistan would probably be on peak alert.
Yeah.
But it probably didn't matter anyways, because like India cut through them very easily.
Right. Yeah. But like
it was 14 days later.
Yeah.
It was at 3 a.m.
When they thought we were
just
doing
announced
drills.
a drill.
Yeah. So like obviously the government will attack, or the government and the armed forces will attack based on what they think is the best time and place, right? Like not according to the opposition parties. But like in those 14 days, they were like attack, attack, attack. As soon as India attacked, they said ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire.
Yeah.
And then when there was the understanding, they said, why didn't you get POK? Why did you stop?
Right.
Like, you know, like these people,
you just can't
like
win, right?
you can't win. Like they will attack. In their attack of PM Modi and the BJP, they attack India. They attack the armed forces at a time where you actually should be united.
Yeah.
Like you are questioning the government and you are questioning the armed forces. And the Pakistani media uses what like the opposition party has been saying in their media to say, oh, look, see, like we didn't do it. Or like, so
and that's another good segue as well. Like if you contrast Rahul Gandhi, who goes to the United States, goes to these college forums and just bashes India the entire time. Modi actually picked Shashi Tharoor from the opposition party to join or lead a delegation going to Europe and North America and presenting India's case and evidence to these people.
Right.
So he doesn't care about party right now. It's all about country.
Exactly.
And he's just like, okay, who are the best people for this job?
and Shashi Tharoor, and we will react to
the economy stagnant and the government that they have been running or manipulating not doing very well in public opinion. And clearly, whatever happened in the conflict that was bound to ensue after the terrorist strike, they were going to declare victory for the army. So there was a lot of chuckling in Delhi when the failed general became a field marshal. But I mean, that's the sort of thing that by promoting himself, as you said, with that extra star, because that was definitely going to be the army's gain from this fight with India. They wanted, once again, to show themselves as the savior of the nation in the face of attacks by a bigger power. The fact is that they provoked those attacks. We were very happy leaving them alone. We had no desire to start this. But when they provoked these attacks by the terrorist strike, we gave them, if you like, a ready-made opportunity to come up with a narrative they'd already pre-decided they wanted.
He destroyed everyone at Oxford Union at that debate.
That was a famous,
He's really good at this, right?
Yeah.
So PM Modi is just like, what's best for the country right now? And he picks that.
Yeah,
Whereas,
and
like,
I really,
people criticizing that and being like, oh, doesn't his party have anyone smart? It's like, yeah, they do. But also, like, he's proving that he's caring about country first.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're proving that you're caring about party first.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And like Shashi Tharoor, gotta give it to him. Like, he's like so articulate and like well spoken and like intelligent, and he has like the experience and background to do like what PM Modi has like assigned him to do. But like throughout this whole thing, like he was with the government 100%. Like he like articulated.
Why he's still a Congi.
I know, seriously, yeah. Like he articulated India's position so well on the like global stage. So I'm really glad that like this is the thing, PM Modi and like the BJP recognize talent, and like they elevate talent.
It's
and
like
that's
game recognizes game.
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
Modi,
That's true. Actually,
Modi and Sashi like never seem to hate each other. They got along fine.
Yeah,
in every public
right.
meet you can find of them, right?
Mm-hmm. But like that's why someone from like a very poor background like Modi became like a chief minister and then a prime minister, because in the BJP like talent is actually valued, right? Like no one knew like Yogi Adityanath before, right? He came from like the bottom up. Hemant Biswa was in the Congress and he didn't get anywhere, and then he joined the BJP, and now look like, you know, he's in Assam, but like he's very popular in the Northeast. Yeah. So, you know, and then people like just gems like Jaishankar, where could you find a better external affairs minister? Like we have not seen like a foreign minister so brilliant, like completely changed the narrative about India globally.
Yeah,
like
contrast to like Pakistan. This is like terrible.
Oh gosh, yeah. But anyways, so yeah, we were overall. I had a couple of other things like before maybe we end. One was the name Operation Sindoor.
Oh yeah.
So, and I know we've talked about the Pahalgam attack, but like even before the Pahalgam attack, Asim Munir, their like chief of staff of like military or something, or anyways, like the basically like the tallest leader in Pakistan, because it's the military that like controls everything in Pakistan, not like the civilian
There's
government.
never been a PM that completed a term, which is a crazy fact about Pakistan, right?
Yeah.
Like just to prove that like it's military rule with like a little civilian puppet
government, yeah. So they're a military dictatorship. So, but Asim Munir, therefore, is like the tallest leader in Pakistan. So I think like a week or like several days before the Pahalgam terrorist attack, he had this speech in front of like I guess like Pakistani people who lived like abroad or whatever. And he said that, you know, the two-nation theory is what Pakistan came out of, and it's like
basically segregating Hindus and Muslims.
Yeah,
and again, like where are the liberal folks? Like they're the ones saying this is a Muslim state, and like we're segregating and kicking out everyone who's not one of us.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So like he was like, you know, our country formed on the basis of two-nation theory, and like openly says Hindus and Muslims have nothing in common. They can't live together. You know, like this hateful, bigoted speech that the tallest leader in Pakistan gives. By the way, they've decimated the minority in Pakistan, but they're still like less than 1%, let's say. What do you think the Hindu Pakistanis or the Christian Pakistanis are feeling when they hear this speech, right? Anywho.
And like, in contrast, every minority has flourished under India.
In India.
So like Pakistan was like supposed to be the better home for Muslims or something. But like an average Muslim in India is doing far better than a Pakistani.
Much better.
Who can't afford
better.
onions or atta or like anything.
Yeah.
Soon to be water.
Yeah. Where everyone from the top to the bottom, their like basic industry is begging now. And terrorism.
Their chief industry.
Yeah. And then Hamas like leaders were also seen in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. And then the Pahalgam attack happened, which was very Hamas style attack, the way they like targeted people, how they segregated people based on religion, and then did the attack.
It seemed like very inspired by October 7th.
So, and the horrendous attack. And so apparently PM Modi named the retaliation Operation Sindoor. And actually, Shashi Tharoor explains it really well.
Why the name Operation Sindoor?
Right.
If you could just briefly address that for those who are not familiar.
Right. Well, Operation Sindoor, actually, I thought was a brilliantly chosen name. The Sindoor, in case some Americans obviously don't know about this, is a vermilion mark that is applied to the center of the forehead of married women in the Hindu tradition. It's widely practiced. Some non-Hindus do it too, but more for decorative purposes. But strictly speaking, the sindoor is applied at the time of the marriage ceremony and is worn every day thereafter by married women. So we were very conscious that these brutal terrorists, who, by the way, shot men in front of their wives and children, but spared the women. And when the one wife screamed out, "Kill me too," she was told, "No, you go back and tell them what we've done." That was why the women were spared. It was horrendous act. But that sindoor had essentially been wiped off the foreheads of 26 Indian women, or 26, I was going to say Hindu women, but one of them actually was a Christian. But the sindoor had been wiped off the rest by these terrorist actions. And so we wanted, first of all, to avenge that act of wiping off the sindoor. But secondly, it's no accident that the color of the sindoor is that bright vermilion red, which is not far from the color of blood. And in many ways, there is a Hindi expression that the khoon ka badla khoon, here sindoor ka badla khoon hoga, that is blood in response to what they've done to the sindoor.
But sindoor is like the red mark that wedded women wear, like Hindu wedded women wear. And it's for like the protection and long life of like their spouses. And when the terrorists, killed the men, they basically wiped the sindoor from their forehead, right? Like they basically took away their spouse. So, so Operation Sindoor, that's why it's named, because it's a retaliation for you wiping the sindoor from our like mothers, daughters, sisters' forehead by killing, their spouses. So this was, I think, perfectly, aptly named.
Everything about this was brilliant.
Just brilliant.
Thought out perfectly.
Yeah.
And like, who was that nobody reporter on Twitter who was like, "Oh, I don't like the name Operation Sindoor because it's like misogynistic," and it's like, what are you talking about? This is in honor of the widows of that attack, who had to survive and like see their husbands and loved ones being murdered, and like had their sindoor wiped away. Like, how can you think that's like
misogynistic?
Like, this is like
so annoying.
This is what the most frustrating thing is, like,
focus on
how ineffective wokeism is. Like, like 26 men were just murdered here, and you're like, "Oh, I don't like the name because like, this is misogynistic." Like, what are you talking about?
I'm sorry.
Why don't you care about the people who were murdered?
Who were murdered? and like the ideology that caused the people to be murdered, right? Like Sindoor also is like choice. Like some women wear it, some like I don't know.
In the West, you wear a wedding ring.
Yeah,
right? In Hinduism, we like now most Hindus wear it, but it's not necessary in Hinduism.
Yeah,
that's what the Sindoor is. That means like I'm a married woman.
Yeah,
there's nothing bad about that.
I think it's a very beautiful like thing, right? Like it's a beautiful like mark of like, you know, like love between, you know, like two people. But
love is misogynistic.
Oh, of course, of course.
According to
nothing else is
wokes,
nothing else is misogynistic. It's only like whatever Hindus do that's misogynistic. It's only like certain, right? Like things. Just unbelievable. It's like really like 26 people were slaughtered based on religion, and you are focusing on this.
Yeah, and also try seeing what would happen to the women if India's security forces left Kashmir, right?
Oh, so, yeah, exactly. Like,
that's not misogynistic, like actual consequences.
Exactly.
But like putting some color on your forehead is like, again, like liberal wokeism is just, that's why I'm so mad at it right now. It's so ineffective. It so focuses on the wrong things.
And you know what? Like, it's so out of touch because I saw interviews of like the family members of the men who died, and they were asked like, "What do you think of Operation Sindoor?" And they were like, "I couldn't think of a better name to, to help name like an operation that helps to alleviate like our pain a bit, right? Like there's no better name because like all the family members, like their loved one died, and like the whole nation saw that like their sisters, mothers,
or like their daughters were
widowed, and so that was, you should put that tweet of that like horrendous.
Who since set her tweets to like private, so I can't even go see it. But I think
but someone else must have
we have the screenshot from like Daniel Boardman or someone responding to it.
What like a lame excuse for like a person so out of touch. And you know what? Like I feel like the opposition has been like captured by like this completely left woke, like nonsensical like mindset, which is why they're not winning. That's why have been in the opposition for 10 years and you will be for like 15.
And kind of back on the topic of like the name, there was like a very powerful comic or like webcomic made about this. Where like the terrorists are like, "Go tell Modi this happened."
Yeah,
and then she's
that was
like,
a good one.
I told Modi, and like this is the retribution.
Yeah, no, that was good. Right? Yeah, and the first two briefings that happened during like Operation Sindoor, there were like 2 women officers, and so I think that was a very powerful message.
Everything planned brilliantly.
Brilliant.
There were 2 female officers, which first of all Pakistan would have loved, obviously, and like one was a Muslim, one was a Sikh woman. So like it's showing we're still unified despite everything you try to do to us.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, and whatever you say about us and what the world says about us,
this
like
they don't theory crap is not. It's nonsense. There's more Muslims in India than Pakistan. Actually.
So. Brilliantly carried out operation and still in effect. So, and honestly,
unknown gunmen
and like other things, but like, we're kind of like far, like we're kind of removed from like everything that has happened. But like, I know that like, all of us are like, so proud of like the Indian government, so proud of the armed forces, everyone who serves. And unfortunately, there have been some like armed forces that have like died during like, I think it was mostly because of the shelling that was happening and some civilians. So like,
I don't know why like as a condition for like actually ending Operation Sindoor, they should say like we're moving your bases like 500 meters back or something, because apparently more people have died in that shelling that happens. Like Pakistan does this on and off, right? More people have died in that shelling alone than like the wars, I think. So like they've killed hundreds of soldiers from this.
You mean like to move? Oh, like to move the LOC like back?
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
I think Major Goravaya,
Like
who we love, who we should like react
create
to.
a buffer zone.
Yeah. He said that, like, you know, every time they do something, they should lose land, and you should capture some of their
Okay, so his idea is something different. He's talking about salami slicing. That every terrorist attack we move forward more.
Yeah, exactly.
This idea is that we create a buffer zone, so it's 500 more meters of distance. So that at least all these Indian soldiers who are posted there in very difficult conditions aren't just dying when Pakistan decides to shoot at them. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
So we think we're also going to react to the Sashi Thurur video.
Yeah.
Who explained this very well to actually an Arabic news channel. Yeah, just truth bombs all throughout. And, and again, this is an opposition leader.
Exactly. Yeah. And he was appreciated because of what he did. Because despite being in the opposition, unlike many others in opposition, he stood up for India. You know, he was very appreciative of the government and the armed forces, and so and he put forth India's position very well on the world stage. So we'll react to that next.
And I think the reason we're so proud and emotional about this is India did nothing for so long, and this is such a perfect response. So every detail was so well thought out. The name down to who presents it, to the tri-service briefings, the satellite images, there's footage from the missile hitting. I don't know how people can even lie about this or think this is both sides are lying, that sort of thing. India has all the evidence, Pakistan showed no evidence.
There's so much stuff that's happened that we could talk about this for so long, but the drones, the I guess what are they called, the suicide drones or the kamikaze drones, they hover until they know you know, okay, this
they
is the
target. They can look for one dude's face.
Exactly, and then they you know hit. So
but India has all the kinematic data, all the video data.
It was beautifully executed. Honestly, again, you know, there's other wars that just go on and on and on, and you know, the objectives aren't as clear, maybe. And so this one, it was just.
And India would have just ended it after the 23-minute strike on the 9 terrorist camps.
Yes.
Had Pakistan not, in response, done the terroristy thing of targeting.
Of course they react like terrorists because they are terrorists. Oh, you know, they're again another evidence of them being hand in glove, the military, the intelligence, and the terrorists. The current one of the chiefs of one of the services, his dad is a designated terrorist.
Oh my god.
And he's he has the highest position in one of the services. He was in their briefing, their tri-service briefing. Isn't that great?
Yep, that kind of just makes sense.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So you can't. They can't lie about this anymore. No, sorry.
Anyways, I think we've ranted a lot about Operation Sindoor, but obviously we're very passionate about this.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, right? So we're gonna make more videos like this, and hopefully you like and subscribe for more. Thanks.
Thank you.
साथियों, पाकिस्तानी फौज, पाकिस्तान की सरकार जिस तरह आतंकवाद को खाद पानी दे रहे हैं, वो एक दिन पाकिस्तान को ही समाप्त कर देगा। पाकिस्तान को अगर बचना है तो उसे अपने टेरर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का सफाया करना ही होगा। टेरर और टॉप एक साथ नहीं हो सकते। टेरर और ट्रेड एक साथ नहीं चल सकते, और पानी और खून भी एक साथ नहीं बह सकते।